And that's one of the reasons that I was brought before the grand jury. Not because I had any real evidence as a witness. It's because they were trying to intimidate Judicial Watch and retaliate against Judicial Watch because we were behind this Clinton sock drawer case and highlighted the Justice Department hypocrisy and about-face in changing the rules to go after Trump. So Judge Cannon had hearings this week, or a big hearing this week, on at least two of President Trump's several motions to dismiss the charges or restrict them. And Judge Cannon had heard two cases, or two motions. One was that the Espionage Act, I guess it's the Espionage Act, the language is unclear in such a way as to make it impossible for the prosecutors to fairly prosecute Trump. And she essentially said, not yet. Maybe, but not yet. So she denied that motion without prejudice. But the other big motion she hasn't yet ruled on, and this is about the Presidential Records Act. And Judicial Watch is all over this motion and this debate because our case is the key case that, depending on how the judge rules, could either end the case or provide a key defense for the president if indeed it goes to trial. And I want to give you an idea just how important the case is. And this is what Trump's team put up in their brief. I don't know if you can see that at the bottom. You bring that forward. Well, at least I can't see it at the bottom. Let me get my glasses on. Oh, you see it right here. The special counsel's office cannot escape Judicial Watch. It's italics, so they're referencing a case and history. So isn't that something else? And what is the Judicial Watch case? The Judicial Watch case is the sock drawer case, the Clinton sock drawer case. And the Clinton sock drawer case was a lawsuit that Judicial Watch had brought against the National Archives. And the National Archives, we believe, should have gone and gotten something we read about in the news. I think it was a Politico report that first uncovered that, my glasses are distracting because I sat on my glasses, so if I just put them on normally, they seem like crooked, so let me just take them off. So the Clinton sock drawer case is this. So Clinton had recordations made by an author of his activities as president. The author was writing a book. He was recording Clinton, and Clinton was in the Oval Office and elsewhere in the White House making phone calls to politicians, members of Congress, and foreign leaders, at least one foreign leader. And those were captured on these audio tapes. And he didn't want them to come out for whatever reason, so he kept the audio tapes in his sock drawer. And we thought under the Presidential Records Act, aren't these the types of records that should have been turned over to the National Archives at the end of his presidency? And we sued the National Archives to go get the records. Well, the Justice Department said, no, you can't do that. The Archives said, no, you can't do that. And one of the biggest left-wing federal judges in the District of Columbia said, no, you can't do that. The Presidential Records Act doesn't give the authority to anyone to second-guess the president's decision to declare records personal or presidential. There's no enforcement. And plus, it's his discretion under the law and our Constitution. In fact, the lawyers for the Justice Department said specifically, because the issue was classified records too. We thought there might be classified records among these tapes. Some of these tapes should have been classified. And so the lawyer goes up to court, and I'm paraphrasing, but I'm getting the gist of it right, and says in a key hearing, well, if he has them, they're presumptively personal. So when, I guess it was in 2022, we found out through press reports that the archives had harassed Trump about getting records back because they thought he didn't have a right to them. and Trump sent a bunch of boxes back. We're like, what is going on here? That they've changed their legal position? Because it was Trump. The Justice Department told us the exact opposite. No one had any business bothering a president after the fact, after he left office for records. And indeed, in the Hur report, he highlights that this has never been done before, except for Trump. And they pretend that Trump did something different than anyone else did, which frankly isn't true. So that's the key issue before Judge Cannon. Whether this decision or the way it's been interpreted by the D.C. court here would preclude a prosecution by Jack Smith. And, and that's one of the reasons that I was brought before the grand jury. Not because I had any real evidence as a witness. It's because they were trying to intimidate Judicial Watch and retaliate against Judicial Watch because we were behind this Clinton sock drawer case and highlighted the Justice Department hypocrisy and about face in changing the rules to go after Trump. So I don't know how Judge Cannon is going to rule on all this. You can, all the briefs are online. If you're interested enough, you can go and find them. Now, she suggested that it might be defense at trial. It may not be enough to kind of throw out the case in the beginning. I disagree with her if that's her ultimate conclusion. But it highlights that the Clinton sock drawer case, despite everything you're hearing, and it's not because we agree with the outcome, we lost that case. And the Justice Department was on the other side, and now they switch sides because it's Trump. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.